Welcome, dear listeners, to a journey across time, a journey into the very soul of human expression. Today, we step into the world of a man whose words have echoed for more than 4 centuries, a man who gave voice to kings and clowns, lovers and villains, dreamers and despairing hearts. His name is William Shakespeare, the playwright, the poet, the man who captured every shade of human emotion and transformed them into eternal art. This is not just a story of a writer, but the story of how one man's imagination became the language of humanity itself. In the quiet town of Stratford-upon-Avon, in the year 1564, a child was born to a glove maker named John Shakespeare and his wife Mary Arden. They could not have known that their son William would grow up to become the most celebrated writer the world has ever known. William grew up surrounded by stories, folk tales whispered by villagers, the rhythm of the Bible read in church, the laughter of traveling actors performing in marketplaces. From a young age, words fascinated him. He studied at the local grammar school, where he learned Latin and classical literature, but perhaps more importantly, he learned to observe. Shakespeare was not only a reader of books, he was a reader of people. As a young man, he married Anne Hathaway, and together they raised children. But Stratford was too small for his restless spirit. He longed for something greater, something beyond the meadows of Warwickshire. He travelled to London, and there, in the heart of Elizabethan England, his true journey began. London was alive with theatre. The streets rang with music, laughter, and the murmur of new ideas. It was a city where commoners and nobles alike flocked to see plays. And into this vibrant world stepped Shakespeare, not yet famous, not yet the bard, but a young man with dreams as vast as the stage itself. His first works were poems, written during the plague when theatres were closed. But soon, his plays began to captivate audiences. Imagine the Globe Theatre, with its open roof, wooden galleries, and thousands of eager faces. By torchlight and daylight, Shakespeare's words came alive. Romeo and Juliet gave the world its most tragic young lovers. Hamlet gave us a prince torn between duty and despair. Macbeth revealed the dark hunger for power. Othello laid bare the destructive force of jealousy. King Lear showed the heartbreak of a father and the cruelty of fate. Yet, Shakespeare was not only a master of tragedy. His comedies sparkled with wit and joy. In A Midsummer Night's Dream, he captured the wildness of love. In Much Ado About Nothing, he made us laugh at the games lovers play, and in The Tempest, he gave us a vision of forgiveness and new beginnings. But what made Shakespeare unique was not just the stories he told, it was how he told them. He wrote about kings and beggars, soldiers and fools, men and women, villains and saints. His characters were never just words on a page, they were alive. He understood fear, hope, love, anger, ambition, jealousy, joy, and despair. He gave voice to every corner of the human heart. Even today, we quote him without realizing it. Phrases like break the ice, wild goose chase, heart of gold, and the world's my oyster all came from his pen. He gave us the very words we use to describe our lives. Shakespeare's genius was not only in the theatre. He became a mirror of humanity. Every character he created carried a piece of us. When Hamlet wonders, to be or not to be, he is asking the question we all ask in moments of doubt. When Juliet whispers to Romeo, we feel the fire of first love. When King Lear cries in madness, we know the pain of loss. And so, William Shakespeare was more than a playwright. He was a voice that reached across time, speaking to people of every age, every culture, every language. His plays have been translated into every major tongue. They have been performed in palaces and in prisons, in great theatres and on humble street corners. Wherever human beings gather, Shakespeare's words find a home. Yet, behind the legend was a man. He was not a saint or a god, but a human being who laughed, worried, dreamed, and made mistakes. Perhaps that is why he speaks to us so powerfully, because his words remind us that every heart, in every age, beats with the same emotions. When he died in 1616, at just 52 years old, he left behind a legacy greater than gold or kingdoms. His friends gathered his plays into a collection known as the First Folio, saving them for future generations. Without that act of love, much of his work might have been lost forever. And so, for centuries later, we still return to Shakespeare. We return because in his works, we find ourselves. He was not merely a writer of plays, he was, and remains, the voice of human emotion. And so, as the curtain falls on this story, we are left with a truth: William Shakespeare was not only a poet of his age, he was a poet of all ages. His words remind us that joy and sorrow, love and loss, hope and despair are threads woven into every human life. Shakespeare's gift was to take those threads and weave them into a tapestry so timeless, so universal, that even today we see ourselves within it. As long as we love and laugh, as long as we dream and grieve, as long as human hearts beat with emotion, the voice of William Shakespeare will never fade. He is not only the voice of his time, he is the eternal voice of humanity. Thank you for joining this journey. See you again in the next story.